You've called for ambitious reforms to the current Dublin asylum system. Are you happy with last week's Commission proposals?
Well, the Dublin system has failed. It has been suspended in country after country, and we need to see a complete review of it. In the communication, the Commission came up with two different options, and the result, the proposal, is neither option one or option two. It's in a way an ambitious European approach to solve the problem, where every member state is obliged to take its part of the responsibility for people fleeing war and persecution. But the Dublin criteria still applies. In other words, it's the first country of entry that should do the asylum assessment of the asylum seeker. I would have wanted to see a European solution, a centralised system where people would be distributed to every member state according to a distribution key, a quota, let's say, and where we do it on a European scheme, as a European scheme. That would have been preferable. But this is neither or, it's a mix. I am definitely going to together with my colleagues in my negotiating team, improve it substantially. And also some deficiencies that is in the proposal must be addressed.
Are there other areas that you think where reform is needed?
Not only reform, what we wanted to do is that we had an outstanding question in the previous Dublin regulation, namely unaccompanied minors, and which country should do their asylum claims. Dublin should not, according to a court ruling, apply to accompanied minors. So there is a court ruling that sets the road for how to treat unaccompanied minors. And it actually says in its ruling, the European Court of Justice, that it's the member state where the child is present and has lodged its application that should do the asylum assessment. But now in the proposal, first country of entry seems to be still valid also for unaccompanied minors, which is in this respect illegal, and of course we are going to address that.
Another very difficult issue today, EU-Turkey visa liberalisation. Very strong opposition from the Parliament. What is your view on the Commission's liberalisation?
Well, there is a mechanism for visa liberalisation that applies to every country that applies for it. In the case of Turkey, there are 72 criteria that must be fulfilled until they should obtain this visa-free regime that they are asking for. Well, there are still 5 outstanding points where Turkey does not fulfill the criteria. The criteria do not apply. So, and they are not minor issues. It's like fundamental rights. It's the terrorism legislation that is now applied to more and more people. Almost everybody today criticizing Erdogan's more and more authoritarian regime runs the risk of being put in prison. And we see in prison today in Turkey more in numbers academics, journalists, authors than anywhere else on this planet. Is this a country that we should allow visa-free regime? I believe it would be immoral, and I believe it would stand against European values and principles fundamentally if we did it. So I think that we should never discriminate Turkey. They should obtain visa-free travel to Europe the moment they fulfill all the criteria, and we are far from there now.
Do you consider Turkey to be a safe country?
You know, there are facts and figures to prove that Turkey is, as a country of origin, in other words, the people born in Turkey that come to Europe and seek asylum in one of our member states, the recognition rate is 24%. So Turkey cannot be considered a safe country of origin, since 24%. Every fourth person that applies for asylum in Europe also gets it, obtains it. But the second question is Turkey a safe third country? In other words, a safe country for transit? Most member states say no. There is one country that is now considering Turkey as a safe third country, and that is surprisingly enough, Greece. And they have admitted this under huge pressure from other member states and maybe even from the Commission. So we are all now taking a free ride for the fact that Greece is considering Turkey a safe third country, and that's why we see this statement or agreement or whatever creature it is that the member states have put together with Turkey to push back refugees to Turkey, and I believe it's completely immoral. What we should and must do in Europe is to clean our own house and take a full responsibility together, all 28 member states, and accommodate the asylum seekers and distribute them evenly in Europe. By that, we would end this absolutely immoral business that is going on between the EU and Turkey.